Hello, everyone. This is my second call project presentation for CRIM 4930. Now, starting with the distance literature as second call in David Intel research, it relates to the work done by second call because of the personal, social resources, and anger disposition discussed in this article. David mentioned that the social support system can help juveniles from committing more crimes as adults. And one thing I learned from second call really is that it helps decrease the level of crimes and incarceration through family support. A lot of ex-offenders that go back into society, it's hard for them really to have that support. And David really discusses about the anger that a lot of them go through, even juveniles, and it's treated as a negative emotion that juveniles learn through experiences. However, the program like Second Call has these type of programs so they can help juveniles and ex-offenders realize that getting angry isn't really the way to go about it, and they help them really control that type of anger. The article by Elaine Gunson, it also relates to the work done by Second Call because of the explored dissonance on female offenders. Results have shown that criminal offending based on gender has a similarities and differences. For example, a difference, a married female offender, a married woman wouldn't offend as much as a non-married woman. And Second Call discusses this type of issue with women offenders and how when they enter into the gang life, they eventually turn into prostitution because of sex trafficking that may happen in their family, or being in that gang life led them to that route in prostitution. And Gunson really emphasizes in the article how female offending stems from that trauma or the heavy usage of drugs or alcohol that leads to gang life and to prostitution as well. The literature by Yvonne Hang discusses a decision-making process where offenders make a personal decision to change their lives. So the results show that many young offenders doing crimes is really part of growing up, and that some of them really find it as fun. And the dissonance process for young adults happens during this decision making process where young adults have to make that decision and either continuing their crime life or making a change to have a better way of living. And making this personal decision is something that Second Call really helps out with because they help offenders make that life changing decision to distance from crime and gain a second life after their prison sentence is over and when they're trying to reenter society. The article by Edward Mulvey describes the community-based supervision that helps youth who have committed serious offenses. The results really show that longer prison sentences do not help with recidivism. If anything, it makes things worse just because offenders that go to prison, they learn new behaviors, they go through more trauma, and when they try to reenter society, it's hard for them because they have all this violence, all the violence that they learn in prison. And Second Call really emphasizes for offender rehabilitation and not mass incarceration because longer prison sentences do not reduce recidivism. And the community-based supervision, it has shown to be effective on juveniles because they attend school more, they attend work, and they reduce offending. The experiences on the course, based on my understanding with working with the criminal justice system, has changed because I feel like the criminal reentry and distance really starts with juveniles. If we can keep juveniles from experiencing or going through or even learning different types of crime, then we could avoid them becoming criminals as adults. And that reentry process becomes really difficult for ex-convicts because they lack the support, resources, and they're stigmatized when they try to go back into society. However, programs like Second Call can help with this reentry process and give ex-convicts a second chance at a better life. And with my understanding of all this, I would do my job differently by focusing more on juvenile delinquents in my community because a community is full with juveniles, and with proper education and attention to the juveniles, it can help decrease the amount of crimes that they commit as juveniles and hopefully not into adults. My assumptions really about the criminal justice system is that mass incarceration is really not the answer to the issues in society, but rather rehabilitation. Distance practices at a young age really demonstrates a rehabilitation for juveniles instead of incarcerating them. And Second Call really emphasizes on this rehabilitation to help offenders heal from their trauma experiences. Inmates may experience more violence in prison, and once released, they struggle with addiction and support from the community. So, with dissident ex-offenders and community-based programs like Second Call, it should help support offenders and help them find jobs once they re-enter society, just to really gain a second chance of life. That does conclude my presentation, and thank you.